you're showing great benefits from it. There's times when people. Do you know the story of Oliver Anthony? Do you know who Oliver Anthony is?
No, I don't.
He's this guy who was the #1 song in the country, and he recorded it in his backyard in Virginia.
Is this the red-haired kid we're talking?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So this guy gave himself to Christ like 30 days ago, and was having all sorts of problems with substance abuse and the normal chaos, and he hit rock bottom, and like. I don't want to speak for him. I don't know what he actually said, but it was something to the tune of, "Please God, if you can straighten my life, if you could just straighten my life out, I will dedicate myself to you, and I'll be on the right track." And then 30 days later, he's clean, and he hits with this insane song. Do you know the song?
Yeah.
Play that song, Jamie, because this song is insane. And this guy doesn't have a label. He's not attached. He won't sign anything. People are trying to get him to sign things. They're offering him like millions of dollars. And he's like, nope, I'm not signing shit. I'm gonna be myself and be independent.
Yourself.
Listen to this.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to react to this Oliver Anthony video, not his music, but him talking about his song being used by Fox News. Now, I wasn't even aware that his song was used for the presidential primary debate. I was over on X watching Trump, like most people seem to have been, and come to find out they used his song during the debate, and he's not too happy about it. But what I find funny is that the same news outlets that were saying that this was a conservative anthem, the same media that was saying that this is a right-wing song, a conservative song, are now saying that Oliver Anthony calls out conservatives. Oliver Anthony isn't happy about his song being associated with conservatives. You know those type of headlines, but when you read it, you get more information. So let's take a look at the story. So Men North of Richmond kicks off GOP debate. The first question at Wednesday's GOP presidential debate wasn't on abortion or foreign policy, but today's hit song, Men North of Richmond. The first question was directed towards Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and why the song struck a chord with so many Americans. Our country is in decline. This decline is not inevitable. It's a choice, DeSantis responded. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline. The song by Oliver Anthony Music appeared on social media earlier this month and has made an unprecedented leap to #1 on the Billboard singles chart. The song discusses inflation, high taxes, the elite Americans he wants to hold accountable. So I guess Ron DeSantis is seeing it as him whining about inflation and interest rates and how bad the economy is. So let's see if Oliver Anthony has that same take.
It's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them.
Okay, so first and foremost, he's calling out conservative news. He's calling out Fox News. And many people have called out Fox News, including plenty of conservatives, to the point where their ratings were down during the debate because most people wanted to watch Trump. Most people stopped watching them completely when Tucker Carlson left. Many people don't consider them conservative news, at least not anymore. So I think it's great that he's calling out Fox News. I understand why he doesn't want his song to be considered a conservative song, because that wasn't the purpose of it. He's not a conservative. He says he's in the middle when it comes to political issues. And the song is calling out the wealthy elites, the rich men north of Richmond, which is basically wealthy politicians who only look out for their own interests, while other people, or the people they represent, are suffering. And the reality is that exists in both Democrats and Republicans. That's not just a Democrat thing. Corrupt politicians exist everywhere in all of the parties. We've seen evidence of this. We see that they only look out for their own interests. So I understand why he doesn't want his song associated with Fox News. And he'll probably say the same thing if it was used for a Democrat primary debate, if there's ever going to be one.
It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and act like we're fighting the same struggle here, like that we're trying to present the same message.
There you go. So he's calling out certain musicians and certain politicians. I guess there's some people trying to make a name for themselves off the back of his song. But he's talking about the politicians. Like he said, he's not the same as them and he's not fighting the same struggles. We saw during that debate that many of them were afraid to put their hand up. Many of them were afraid to give a definitive answer. I was impressed with Vivek's performance. I thought he did a good job. I was glad that he was able to be clear on where he stands on certain key issues. But many of the others seem to straddle the fence. And it's obvious that they want to please their donors. It's obvious that their donors are the ones running the show when it comes down to it. Those are the ones they're looking out for, to make sure that that funding keeps coming in, that funding for their campaigns. These are career politicians who want to appeal to the establishment. That's why they couldn't put their hand up when asked about Ukraine. That's why they couldn't put their hand up when asked about supporting Trump, even if he's convicted. Now, Vivek said, I'm the only one on this stage who isn't bought. So that says it all, basically. We know how this thing works.
I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
Now, time will tell whether or not he's bought. So far, he doesn't seem to be afraid to take the stance that appears to be anti-establishment. He doesn't seem to be afraid to say what many would consider an unpopular opinion. Most people who they claim to represent want to know at what point are they going to be put first. When it comes to Ukraine, most people want to know at what point is the American people going to be put first. At what point are we going to say there's a limit and we need to redirect resources into where they're needed most here in the US?
I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've tried to be polite to everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of people the last 2 weeks. It seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell. The other thing that I find aggravating is, it was funny seeing my song in the. It was funny seeing it at the presidential debate. Because it's like, I wrote that song about those people, So for them to have to sit there and listen to that cracks me up.
So at least they were able to hear the song. At least they were able to hear themselves being called out.
So Governor DeSantis, why is this song striking such a nerve in this country right now? What do you think it means?
Our country is in decline. This decline is not inevitable. It's a choice. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline. And it starts with understanding we must reverse Bidenomics so that middle-class families have a chance to succeed again. We cannot succeed as a country if you are working hard and you can't afford groceries, a car, or a new home, while Hunter Biden can make hundreds of thousands of dollars on lousy paintings. That is wrong. We also cannot succeed when the Congress spends trillions and trillions of dollars. Those rich men north of Richmond have put us in this situation. And finally, we need to lower your gas prices. We're going to open up all energy production. We will be energy dominant again in this country. I showed it could be done in the state of Florida. I pledge to you as your president, we will get the job done, and I will not let you down.
They tried to imply that he was calling out Joe Biden. Yes, we do blame Joe Biden. We do blame the policies of the Democratic Party for the mess that the country is in today. Trump did a lot of spending too during the pandemic, and that didn't help matters. But when Biden got in, he took it to the next level and decided that they needed to give out their payouts too. I guess they thought that was the popular thing to do. Again, a lot of these politicians care about what makes them popular, what's going to win over votes. Now, the media implied that him calling out welfare recipients was very right-wing. There was that one guy who said that him mentioning the North was him talking about the Civil War and being on the side of the South. But I think most people just laughed at that guy. But other people just couldn't get past him calling out fat people on welfare. When really he was calling out the system. He wasn't calling out individuals per se, he was calling out the system that allows people to take advantage of it. A system that is flawed, a system that incentivizes not working. And as long as that remains an issue, these problems aren't going to be addressed. A system that encourages people to just live off it indefinitely. And that's no help to them, and that's no help to the country in terms of the economy. But as long as it's something that they can pretend to care about, as long as it's something that they could hang over people's head and say, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that for you. We're going to give you handouts. So vote for us. As long as they can use it for that purpose, they don't care. And the inflation and the high taxes doesn't affect the wealthy elite like it affects the regular working person. I remember certain liberals on Twitter, certain celebrities saying that they were willing to pay, what was it, $15 a gallon for gas as long as Trump doesn't come back in. Again, showing how out of touch these people are. All they care about is their own agendas, their political affiliations, their funders, their donors, not as much as they care about the regular people. But at the same time, they will talk about taxing the rich and things like that, when really that's just a fancy way of saying taxing the middle class more. A lot of the time, people question, why do the Republicans allow these things to continue? Why don't the Republicans put a stop to this? But the reality is, a lot of them are on the same team. A lot of them have the same interests. And that's looking out for the wealthy elites. It's not looking out for the regular American people. That's looking out for their own political careers. Some of their donors are from Big Pharma. So we wonder why they're pushing, you know, vaccines and things like that. Some of their donors work in arms. So we're wondering why they have an interest in keeping certain wars going, just like the left. Some of their donors have interests in things that pertain to the environment, things that pertain to climate change. So even Republican politicians push certain agendas.
But it was funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know? It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden. That song's written about the people on that stage, and a lot more too, not just them, but definitely them.
And there you go. So he's saying that, you know, he's not the same as the people on that stage. He doesn't have the same interests as them, and he doesn't have the same outlook on life as they do. A lot of people aren't mad at him for saying this. A lot of people agree with him, people on the right too. So that was a chance for Ron DeSantis to say that, you know, I realize the song is about me and people in my line of work, but I'm not going to be just another rich men north of Richmond. I'm going to be someone who cares for the interests of the regular American person. He could have said he was going to be different from the rest. That was an opportunity for him to say that. But instead, he took it to mean him calling out Joe Biden. But no, it's not just about calling out Democrats and corrupt Democrat politicians. It's also shining a light on the people on that stage too. You know, it applied to them. And it's kind of funny that they're seeing it as him calling out the other side. So one of the Fox News co-hosts actually responded to Oliver Anthony and explained why they used the song during the debate. Fox News anchor and co-host of the first Republican primary debate, Martha McCallum, defended using the conservative anthem, Rich Men North of Richmond, as a talking point after the songwriter criticised GOP presidential candidates Friday. So again, they're calling it a conservative anthem. It just seems like a lot of conservative outlets ran with this song as a means of elevating them and putting down the other side. But that was not the intention of the song. And, you know, Oliver Anthony has a right to say that. He has a right to clarify that. And I understand why he doesn't like certain groups running, you know, off the coattails of this song when they are the groups that he's calling out. This song is encouraging them to look in the mirror. This song is encouraging them to reflect on their motives. So Martha said, the reason we asked 8 GOP candidates after playing Rich Men North of Richmond and pointing out that DC is just 100 miles north of Richmond was to say, are you on the stage part of the problem that he sings about or part of the solution? McCallum wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. He sings of people who are deeply frustrated and don't want anyone trying to control them. It would be a good way to start a Dem or GOP debate to spark an important conversation. So I think it's good to ask politicians, does this song apply to you? And how are you going to ensure that it doesn't apply to you? I think that's a fair question. So maybe a follow-up question, letting them know that the song is actually about them. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.